All right, and we're back. This is a new SEC podcast. I'm Randall Ledet Jr. We got Hunter Ziesman as well. We're talking about Auburn traveling to College Station to take on Texas A&M. It's a jam-packed Saturday of some of the best college football, and this game is not one to miss out on. It'll be on ESPN, but my TV will definitely be on the quad box for it. Texas A&M opens up as a favorite, 6.5, and the over-under in this game is 52.5. What are we thinking for these two teams?
Auburn thinking and we probably should have won that game. They're thinking, they almost got it. They're still, we're here on Monday. They're still being circulating now about the SEC thing, and they got things wrong against Oklahoma. Really, Auburn potentially should still be ranked over a couple other teams like Illinois. So this could be a ranked-unranked matchup. Auburn has some confidence leaving that game, but now the O-line didn't play well, and they got 10 sacks in that game, and Texas A&M defense is looking at that, licking their chops, thinking that they're going to get the same performance against Jackson Arnold.
Yeah, and rightfully so for Auburn, right? I was listening to Josh Pate, and he mentioned that if a head coach said something about the officiating, he would get fined, but then the SEC can just come out and put a written statement and say, hey, we messed up, and nothing happens, right? There should be some repercussions there, but, you got to move on to the next week, unfortunately, and it doesn't help that you're playing the number 9 Texas A&M team, and there's obviously room for improvement on this Auburn side when it comes to protecting the passer. And I think you had mentioned it on our last recap, where it wasn't necessarily because receivers weren't getting open, or it wasn't because the O-line wasn't blocking as good as they could.
Yeah. Arnold was hanging on to the ball a little too long sometimes. I was watching the game at times. I'm like, throw it. Like he was just sitting there holding on to it. And he wants to run, but they're calling for a pass. They're like, we got to pass in this game. Oklahoma's looking to shut down the run. Texas A&M probably going to do the same thing. His reads were really, really slow. Looking at the time to throw, he had a lot of time to throw.
Yeah.
So I think that there was dual ownership over the sacks, whether he held on to it too long. The O-line was pretty porous. A&M is watching that, how long he held onto the ball, how slow the progressions were. When did he decide to take it for himself? When did he end up taking a sack? When did he decide to throw it away? And they're kind of game planning a little bit around that, I would imagine.
Yeah, I would definitely imagine they're game planning around it. And this A&M team, we've had the opportunity to watch them on the national spotlight against Notre Dame. I think what really stands out for them is we always talk about their defense. This year, it's been an area of improvement potentially. 11th overall pass defense in the SEC, giving up 211 yards in the air. 13th from a rushing perspective, giving up 139 yards on the ground. That's what Auburn has proven to do well. For Texas A&M, what are we thinking about their offense, and what do we think about the defensive stats and what that means against Auburn's offense? So two questions there for you.
Yeah, so looking at Texas A&M's DBs, first off, they're going to have to be a little bit tighter. We've talked about Texas A&M's defense at length, but they've been giving up a lot of points. If you're going to stop the run that Auburn has, you're going to have to put your corners in some compromising positions like Oklahoma did. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. We saw Cam Coleman make some impressive plays. We'll see what happens. You're going to have Des Ricks. You're going to have Will Lee matching up with Cam Coleman. Jackson Arnold is going to throw the ball up sometimes, and you're going to have to make a play as a corner. So I do see Texas A&M having to improve a little bit defensively. Now, that's a big matchup for me, these wide receivers and DBs, because although Auburn isn't the best passing team, that is going to be where their opportunities lie because of how much teams are going to sell out to stop the run.
Definitely. And I think that's going to be the key for them to win games going throughout the season. And that's going to be the key for them to pull off a potential top 10 upset this week, in College Station. On the other side for Texas A&M, they have one of the best receivers in the country in Mario Craver, and he's helping Marcel Reed potentially be in that Heisman discussion as a sleeper per se, right? Mario Craver right now, 4 touchdowns in the season, leads the SEC in yards. I think he's top 5 in the nation as well. Does Auburn have an answer for this pass attack that we weren't expecting? Is really my question going into the game.
Yeah, what Mario Craver's been able to establish with Marcel Reed in such a short time is awesome. It's phenomenal. It's been a great component for this team. Been such a good outlet for him. Auburn's pass defense has not been that great. They've let up 931 pass yards, second most in the SEC. Not a lot of that has come out of the slot, though. They've done okay. Only 2 touchdowns out of the slot. Of the 6, they've led up 202 yards out of the slot. So we'll see how Craver matches up with like a Sylvester Smith on Auburn. So I do like Mario Craver in this game. I think that they'll get him involved in the numerous ways that they do. He's great after the catch. He gets open. It all comes on the fact that Texas A&M is a dual threat, triple threat team, really.
Yeah.
Quarterback can run. The running backs, you got a bunch of them. Let them keep running. You got receivers that are great as well.
Yep.
It's hard to find your balance defensively, I think, matching up with this Texas A&M team.
Yeah, this might be one of the best Texas A&M offenses that I have seen since the Johnny Manziel era, when you had Johnny and you had, Mike Evans and you had Swope. Like, they got some guys across the board, and it's definitely been showing out. I don't think in most years they would have won that Notre Dame game like they did. I don't think the offense would have shown up. So Auburn's got their hands full. Final keys for this game for Texas A&M and final keys for Auburn.
Yeah, for Auburn to win this football game, you need to find yourselves in third and manageable. When Auburn was in pass first situations, they didn't necessarily do what they needed to do against Oklahoma. Third and longs. We saw the last 2-minute drill type drive that they ended up taking multiple sacks on for the safety. They need to be in third and short, so that when you run the risk, your opponent trying to figure out, are you going to run or are you going to pass? If they're in a pass first situation, they haven't yet proved that they can do that. For A&M, I think you continue to do what you do offensively. I think that the defense for A&M is going to have question marks around it, but A&M can win this game I think they can outscore Auburn without their defense necessarily playing their best game, like they did with Notre Dame.
Yeah. I could definitely see it. And this Auburn defense, they impressed me a lot against Oklahoma. What I thought they did well in that game was not letting the crowd get into the game and control the energy of the game. Like, it was always a pretty close game, and I think that played into Auburn's favor. If for Auburn to have a chance to win this game, similar defensive performance, you're playing a mobile quarterback just like Mateer. They have more offensive weapons at the running back position than Oklahoma has shown us this season. And I think for A&M to win this game, just do what you do best on offense. Score, obviously you got to score more to win, but use all your weapons, really control the line of scrimmage. And then defensively, you just need to have a slightly better performance than you've had. And this passer you're facing to date is not as effective as a passer compared to Carr from Notre Dame. And so I feel like it lends well to A&M taking the win here. And so I'm going to go ahead and drop my pick. I'm going to say Texas A&M 31-21.
Okay. I got A&M even bigger than that. I got A&M 38-24. I got them covering 2 scores here. Big one. I'm not sold on Auburn yet. I wasn't in the Baylor game. They ended up winning that one. I wasn't necessarily sold against Oklahoma. I know that things didn't necessarily go their way in that. I think they're still a little one-dimensional. They play a lot of 1v1 ball in the pass game. And right now, I just think A&M's offense is just too strong. So I got A&M 38-24. We'll see what happens, though.
We'll see. So if you're an Auburn fan, if you're a Texas A&M fan or an SEC fan, if you like content like this and you enjoy this preview, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, drop your predictions below. And as always, I'm Randall Dett Jr. We've got Hunter Ziesman, some new SEC podcasts. And until next time.